going on, everybody? It's the Fandom Empire Show's Tuesday night. I can hear my voice echoing off the wall. Not cool. Thanks a lot, Johnny. Now I'm not going to be able to get it all out of my head the entire night. It's the Fandom Empire Show. We got one hell of a jam-packed show for you guys tonight. The host of the IPC podcast, Mr. Zach Arnold, and our old buddy, former host of the Star Wars Wastelands podcast, Mr. Mondo, are here to give their Jurassic World Dominion spoiler-free review. As I try to fix the audio issues. Apologies. We also have Halloween Ends. There's a bit of a rant, and then we're going to give out what I would call a pretty big tease about the movie. And the information that we're going to give out, I have not seen covered basically on any other YouTube channel, so that's how you know most of them are probably full of shit at this point in the game. But maybe some of them have it. We'll see. Joker sequel details, Cinematic Showdown, the Gauntlet, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and the top 3 Royal Rumble matches of all time. But without further ado, first up, he's the host of the IPC podcast. It's Mr. Zach Arnold. What's going on, dude?
Hey, man. Thank you so much for having us on. I know it was kind of late notice, but I'm glad we were able to get all the stars to align. And I'm actually pretty excited to talk about this movie and try to be as spoiler-free as I can. But I do have some thoughts and maybe some people that I want to try and address as well. So it's going to be a fun night. Appreciate you having me.
Awesome. Also joining us, our former co-host. He hasn't been on here in some time. It's Mr. Mondo. What's going on, dude? What's new? What's happening? Oh, sorry. I think I muted him on the intro. Let's try that again. I'm just all over the place here.
You just don't want to hear what he has to say.
For a second, I thought my invitation had already been revoked. So, no, it's good to be here. I'm excited to talk a little Jurassic World Dominion. It's going to be a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun this last weekend experiencing this film, and we're going to go into that a little bit, but yeah.
Also joining us, not sure why. I guess he just wants to see Mondo or something. I don't think he's seen the movie yet. Maybe he has. It's Johnny. What's going on, dude? Have you seen the movie?
No.
Oh, okay.
But I won't see it for months yet. I'm a watch-at-home guy for those movies. No, man, I was just, sitting around, figured what the hell.
Yeah, it's not like we're going to be up all night or anything. So you're missing out on extra sleep, dude.
What's that?
Right. So let's dive right into this, guys. I'm just going to sort of back off and hand the ball over to that guy up there, and take it away. You guys not only got to experience the movie several times over the weekend, but you also have created, from what I understand, a bit of a new business venture to go along with it. So why don't you talk about your experience with the movie, guys, and this new business venture you have as well?
Yeah, we can totally do that. Business is probably a loose term at this stage because the business cards that we made were printed out on cardstock from Walmart and perforated and pulled apart just so we had something to take with us when we were going around to the movies. But about a year ago, we went to a local Comic-Con here in the Dallas area, and it was Mondo and myself and then my dad, and we all dressed up as Jurassic Park characters, and we were literally the only people at the con. Mondo, am I right about that? We were the only people at the con that were dressed up in Jurassic Park regalia.
We were, and the funny thing is, I think at one point you thought somebody else was actually dressed up.
Yeah.
And it turned out they were not.
Nope. But I had already committed, and it was like, okay, we're going to take a picture. And then I found out she wasn't dressed up as Ellie Sattler. She was dressed up as the girl from College with a Chance of Meatballs. And she pulled like the strawberry pillow out from behind her. And I was like, oh no, I made a big mistake. Too bad. But it was cool because at the time, there were these people that were doing like a walkthrough experience, like a Jurassic World walkthrough experience. And they invited us to come take a picture with their animatronic Blue, the Raptor. And so I was dressed up as Alan Grant. He was dressed up as Dennis Nedry. And my dad, he's got a figure and a white beard that's very akin to John Hammond. So the three of us went and we got to go to the front of the line and take pictures with Blue because it was like good for promotions for us and then good for promotions for them. So that was kind of what started it all, was just getting excited about how well received our costumes were at Comic-Con. And then we decided to go in costume to the movie screenings and hang out for maybe a half hour, an hour before each movie, and just be in the lobby and be available to take pictures with people. We weren't necessarily invited by any of the theaters. We just hung out. And it was pretty cool to see the reception, because like that Thursday opening night, it was at a movie theater that was adjacent to a mall. And Mondo, I feel like opening night that Thursday night was like the most photos we took. We took a lot, but I think the most of them happened that Thursday.
Yeah, I would think so. I think it would have been that night. So I'm going to try to show this. I don't know how it's going to come across here.
Uh-oh. Good luck. Oh, that's pretty decent.
Yeah. That's a picture of the trio of us. That was actually at a Jurassic Park screening last month at a theater here, and there's the three of us, and that's pretty much what we look like at Comic-Con too.
Yep. And it was a fun time going to the screening, because the theater's director of marketing was really excited to see us, and so we just had a little momentum and decided to capitalize on it. And figured if there were any other smaller conventions or cosplay groups or maybe other movie screenings or other events or what have you, then we could go in costume to those different events. Caitlin, I appreciate the love. We really appreciated the feedback that people gave us. Some of the employees at the different theaters were like taking pictures of us, and they had like these little dinosaur figurines, and they were doing like one of those forced perspective type shots where it looked like the dinosaurs were like on either end of us. And it was just really cool to hear people in the line for their snacks see me in line, and they're like, oh, it's Dr. Grant. Like, people were getting into it, and it was pretty fun. And so that was probably, like, in my opinion, one of the top 2 or top 3 parts of the weekend experience. Like, yeah, the movie was fun, but I think even more fun was getting to dress up and then getting to see people's receptions to the costume as well. So that's kind of the costume side of things. Is we just like dressing up and we like going to Comic-Con. So if somebody wanted to invite us to be a part, like an official cosplayer at their groups, then right now we're in the Dallas area, but I've got a friend who is keeping me in the loop on stuff in the Oklahoma area, and obviously there's other metropolitan areas in Texas, Houston, San Antonio, Austin, places like that we may try to hit up. So we'll start small and see where it goes. But the Cretaceous cosplayers are what we call ourselves on Facebook. So if you look up Cretaceous cosplayers, I know that's a full word, but it's kind of like an homage to Camp Cretaceous, which is a show that we also really like. And so Cretaceous cosplayers on Facebook, if y'all want to hit us up over there. But yeah, that is that's cool. I didn't know you did that. Thank you. So yeah, if you go look for that, you'll be able to find all the stuff we do: parties, events, movie screenings, conventions, and more. So it was a really fun time. And Mondo, I know this is one thing that we probably thought about omitting, but I think we also have to acknowledge that it was over 100 degrees Fahrenheit, which is like 38, 40 degrees Celsius, I believe. And it was hot as balls at a lot of those places, with me in the full Alan Grant like slacks and denim shirt, and you in Nedry slacks and the rubber jacket. Like, we put in a little bit of work going to these screenings in full regalia.
We did. You mentioned the chick who was taking her pictures with the dinosaur for a forced perspective.
Mm-hmm.
That was my favorite one of the whole weekend, because yes, like the one at East Chase, I don't know, people are like, what in the hell are you talking about?
We went to 4 total. East Chase is one of the 4 theaters we went to.
But on that one, the bartender was super excited to see us, and
yeah, she was.
And just had a really good time with that. But that the chick at the Dolby showing, she admitted that she was taking our picture on the DL.
Yeah,
Um,
that
uh,
was
so-
that was amusing.
and she had a really fun time with it, and that actually made me wonder. I wonder how many other people snap pictures of us without our acknowledgement there.
Maybe.
Not that I care. I'm just wondering, you know. But to me, the coolest thing was and there were only a handful, but the number of people that made comments like "You made my day" or "This is awesome."
Yeah.
Can I get a picture with you? Or
You're gonna tell that story.
I am. So I kind of had. So I kind of had a Michael Scott moment.
Oh boy.
So we're standing like we're in an outfit. And we're standing in front of the Jurassic World cutout at the movie theater, and some guy walks over to us and he's like, "I love y'all's costumes," and I'm like, "Hell yeah!" And he's like, "Would you mind taking our picture?" And I was like, "No, that's kind of what we're here for." So he hands Zach his phone, and him and his girlfriend, wife, fiance, side piece, whatever, stand in front of the Jurassic World cutout, and I'm like slowly inching my way into the picture, and then it dawns on me, why is Zach taking the picture? So they start to pose, and I start to pose with them, and then it dawns on me, I wasn't invited to be in this picture.
I was holding up their phone with one hand and doing a thumb like at my waist, going like, get out. And like he slowly creeps into the frame and then slowly creeps out of the frame. But with Mondo, there's no such thing as like a small slide. It's more like a tub of butter lumbering from one side of the room to the other. And so he just kind of melted out of the picture, if you will, to continue the butter metaphor. And it was hilarious. It was right up there with the lady who thought I worked at the AMC.
Oh, yes.
Asking me for directions. Luckily, I've been to AMC long enough that I know how the ticket process and like where the theaters are and stuff. But we were standing next to a poster on another day, and she went full Karen mode. I swear to God. She was like, "Do you work here?" And before I could even say no, she was like, "I'm going to say yes. Okay, we bought our tickets online, but we really don't know what to do after that because all I've got is this thing on my phone here." And I was like, "Okay, the gentleman over that direction will be able to scan your phone." And she's like, "Thank you," and just walked off very pompous and entitled like. But it was just kind of surreal the way some people treated us. And honestly, the movie going experience was kind of surreal too. To actually talk about the movie for a few seconds, we saw it 4 times over the course of 4 days: opening night, Thursday night, and then Friday night, Saturday afternoon, and Sunday afternoon. And we saw them in 4 different formats. The first format was an IMAX screen. The second format was 3D. The third format was Dolby, and then we saw traditional 2D at a dine-in theater on Sunday afternoon. So we got the full spectrum of the viewing experience, and we got to do most of it for free. The final day, we had to pay like $8.50 for our ticket or something, but the rest of it, we were able to just slide into thanks to AMC A-List subscription. We would just make the reservation, show them our phone, boom, we're in, we're sitting down. And so I made a post about it on my page, Zach the Voice, yesterday, that I could have paid $72.66 for those screenings, and it ended up not costing me anything because I had that $20 a month subscription service.
Yeah, no, that was awesome. And you're right. So being able to experience it in different formats, it was kind of cool because we were enjoying the movie, enjoying opening weekend, but it was like we were also sort of doing it for science in a weird way.
That's a good way to put it.
because I've seen movies in IMAX, I've seen movies in Dolby, I've seen movies in 3D, I've seen movies in regular, but I've never really watched multiple viewings of the same movie in different formats in theater. So to be able to actually compare them, kind of side by side with a fresh memory of that particular experience was it was pretty cool and it was pretty fun to do. I'm glad that we started with IMAX. I feel IMAX offers a really awesome experience.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, and I think Zach agreed, 3D was probably the weakest of the four formats that we saw, and
Yeah.
I've kind of noticed this a little bit with things post COVID and a little bit before, but I kind of feel like with some of the shortcuts they have to take in order to kind of maintain scheduling and maybe workload and personnel, in 3D, it really seems to highlight those a little bit more. Maybe the frames are a little slower in some of the animations. Just certain things. Don't get me wrong, it's not a bad way to see it. It's just not the ideal way to see it.
Yeah.
I will say, though, I think the premium and premier way to experience this film in particular would be in Dolby.
Yep.
The Dolby screen seems to be a little clearer. I think the Dolby looks a little more 4K than IMAX does, if I'm being honest.
I think it's sharper. I think, in my opinion, it's sharper.
Yeah, I would agree with that. The sound quality, though, is where it's at.
Mm-hmm.
That's what makes the experience. And I kind of pointed this out to Zach, because IMAX has a pretty good sound mixer as well, and they have the bigger speakers and that stuff. But I kind of pointed out during the 3D viewing, this scene feels a little weaker than it did yesterday because of the removal of some of that oomph in the sound.
Yep.
But
there's plenty of sound. There's definitely plenty of sound to listen to. I personally enjoyed the soundtrack, the blending of some of the original music with Giacchino's score from the previous two films. You take classic characters like Alan Grant and Ellie Sattler and Ian Malcolm, and then you also try to incorporate some of the themes that were being used for Owen Grady and Claire Dearing. And to put the two of those together is a big undertaking, and then to have as many different dinosaurs as they did, in my opinion, and just based off of what I've seen from the previous films, this is one of the more dinosaur heavy films in the entire series. During one of the screenings, and then I did it a second time just to confirm, I believe we counted 16 different species that were prominently focused on over the course of the movie. Like, that's not even the background dinosaurs. That is like ones that the scene incorporates them or is all about them to a certain extent. And so to have as much dinosaurs as well as having as many characters as they did was a big undertaking. And listening to all of their different roars and sounds and screams and engine roars from the motorcycle chase scene, which we saw in the previews. There's no spoiler there. Like, that happens, and that whole scene I think is like 10 minutes long or something. It's a crazy ride, this movie, but I personally had a lot of fun with it.
I did too, and it's a movie that makes you think. At first, when you see what the actual plot line is, you kind of think, oh boy, they did it. They miffed it up.
Yeah.
And that was my honest reaction the first time I saw it. I was like, oof. I don't know if I want to sit through this 3 more times. But as you watch the film and you kind of start to recognize the connections it has to the real world and some of the things that have happened, and you kind of start to think about it kind of from that particular level, then you kind of start to appreciate it, like I did. And Zach and I talked at length next to his truck outside of the movie theater Thursday night.
That's what we always do.
About that, and that's kind of when, but that's kind of when I started to appreciate the movie so much more. Is as we talked the plot out and we talked some of those things out, and we kind of came to realize, well, wait a minute, that at face value it looked kind of silly, it looked kind of weird, but the more you get down to it, it really kind of made sense. But you're right about the dinosaurs. The dinosaur count was absurd in this film, and I really, really enjoyed that aspect of it. This movie does contain one of my favorite scenes in the entire Jurassic franchise.
Ooh, it's pretty high.
It is, and I looked forward to this scene every single time we watched it after the first one. And that's actually close to where it happens. But and that image right there, the blending of the new cast and the old cast, they did a phenomenal job with that. I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed some of the excitement that they had for one another, and they knew about each other, and the respect they had for one another. I thought that was really cool, and they played off of each other very well. And I think that is what really made it enjoyable to me.
I feel like their chemistry was pretty good, all things considered. I also think that the natural progression of the franchise reached an appropriate conclusion in this one. I don't really think I want to see what happens beyond this film. I know that Universal's probably going to continue things anyways because it's a huge moneymaker, but I'm actually kind of okay with the way things finished and the way things concluded, because this movie is over 2 hours long, close to 2.5 hours long, and you probably need like a caffeinated beverage when you go to watch it, because there are some times where it's a bit long. There are times where it feels like it drags out a little bit. And I will be one of the first people to admit that I know this isn't going to be everybody's cup of tea. So I know we're like the resident dinosaur experts, but I'll be one of the first ones to admit that this isn't going to be like a widely accepted, super popular Marvel type of reception to a movie. I get that. Honestly, if I was ranking it, it would probably only be 3rd out of 6 in the franchise for me anyways. Like, it's not even top 2. It's a good film. And I have it higher than things like Fallen Kingdom, JP3, some of those obvious ones. But it's not going to touch the classic 93 park. And honestly, I think I enjoyed the 2015 Jurassic World the most out of these 3 films. So I liked this movie. I personally liked this movie. I liked the storyline. I liked character incorporation. I liked the super attention that was paid to dinosaurs and making them prominent on the screen. But here's the thing about it. And this is the thing that's going to rub some dinosaur fans, some Jurassic fans the wrong way. I personally don't feel like this is exactly a dinosaur movie. This is a cautionary tale that has dinosaurs in it. But that is exactly what the 1993 Jurassic Park film was. If you recall, it has less than a half hour of actual screen time with dinosaurs in it. Back then, it was due to budget. It was due to CGI. It was due to all kinds of other things. But there's less than 30 minutes of actual screen time of dinosaurs in Jurassic Park. It was more about a cautionary tale of man abusing genetic power for the wrong reasons. And I feel like that is a lot of what this movie tries to address. It takes those genetic power, it takes those hubris of mankind, and instead of using it for the good of mankind, they use it for capitalistic gain. And so That is what I see this movie as.
No, and that's exactly what I saw it as too. It was another instance of man trying to play God, man trying to control the world through genetics. And it's still kind of it. But when you think about it, though, people are like, well, what's that got to do with dinosaurs? Because they get it through the dinosaurs. They did it through the same the same methods that they used for them, and they used to genetically enhance and modify them. So, like I said, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it for what it was. I like how it tied up storylines even from the first movie. It had a storyline that it tied up from the first movie, a storyline that I've actually thought about, if I'm being honest with you. Like, I've kind of thought about, I wonder what happened.
Yeah.
And it ties that up. It ties up stuff from the new trilogy, obviously, but at the same time, it's the culmination of 6 movies, though.
Yeah.
And I mentioned
that's tough for anybody.
it is, and I mentioned to Zach on the way out of the theater as we were kind of in awe. I was dripping sweat because it was 98 degrees and I was in a rain trench coat. And I said, this moment is 4 years in the making, but I was wrong, because that moment was 29 years in the making.
Yeah, to an extent. So, all in all, I think it's safe to say that those 4 viewings really helped us be able to dissect the film a little bit more. And being as long as it is, it's probably worth at least 2 watches before you give like some full thoughts on it, because the first one you're taking it all in. The second time you're able to kind of process it a little bit better. So I'm not saying that just so you can go and patronize your local cinema. I'm saying that because this movie has a little bit more depth to it than I think some people realize, and it's worth getting a second look. So 4 times was probably too much, but we were making it an experience, and it was quite the experience getting to see it in all those different formats and the reception from people in the lobby and stuff. But much like Liam says, nothing's going to compare to the original Jurassic Park, and I think people need to go into that with that understanding that this movie's not going to have the same magic, that same lightning in a bottle that the original 93 film had, but it's still a fun movie and it's still worth to watch, and I still think that it's a worthy addition to the franchise.
I would agree with all of those. And we watched the film 4 times, and I came out of the last showing not sick of it. And I think that says a lot to it.
That was a little bit.
I was like, okay. Now, would I have gone right back in and watched it again? Probably not. But it's not something I'm like, I'm never going to watch that again.
Right.
Or it's not something like that. I would have ranked this 3rd overall, kind of like you, kind of right in the middle. And it does. There are a few times where maybe it drags a little bit, and maybe it kind of should have progressed a little sooner.
Yeah, there were a few areas that they could have cleaned up, but it was a fun ride still, I think.
It was a fun ride.
What still takes some time to get used to. What would you guys give the movie out of 10?
I think I gave it a 8.5.
I think I gave it an 8.75.
Yeah.
So
I mean, like, the OG Jurassic Park is to me like a 9.9. Like, it is one of the most perfect films I've ever seen. And then I think I gave Jurassic World a 9, and I think I gave The Lost World an 8. So this one's kind of right in that middle there between 8 and 9. It's about an 8.5 for me.
That's awesome, guys. Thanks for taking half an hour out of your night to come on and talk about this movie with us. It's appreciated. Why don't you guys tell the audience where everybody can find you at?
Well, you can find me in Louisville, Texas.
That's about it.
No, all kidding aside, I don't really have much of a social media presence, but if you want to keep up with my comedy work, Mondo D Comedy, that's there. If you want a game, I play video games all the time. Mondo 24 2008. That is literally my gamer name for everything. I don't know how I've gotten so lucky with that, but I have. PSN, Xbox Live. I'm actually think that's my Nintendo name. That's my Steam name. That's my name. I don't know. But that's pretty much it. So, yeah.
Awesome. Zach?
Yeah, just a reminder, go follow the Cretaceous Cosplayers. We'll be talking about the movie on there, probably with spoilers on a Facebook Live feed in the not too distant future. And hopefully we'll be able to make some appearances at other places and maybe do some throwback photos from previous appearances and stuff just to get the engagement going. So follow the Cretaceous Cosplayers, dino-sized costume fun. And you can follow me personally at Zach the Voice. That's pretty much the same username on all platforms. And then I'm also at the IPC podcast. We're broadcasting this Friday, also doing a Dominion discussion. So if you want to hear more in-depth thoughts from myself and my buddy Ben, then you can find us over there here on Fandom Empire on Friday night.
Awesome, guys. It's greatly appreciated. Thanks for coming out and doing this. I'm gonna have to get noise-canceling headphones because the echo of this room's killing me. I blame this guy. Didn't notice it until he said anything, and now that's all I hear.
You literally asked if there was an echo, and all I did was say it sounds like the room.
I thought it was me coming through awkwardly. Now I realize it is the room. There's no easy fix for that. But anyways, guys, thanks for coming out. It was a pleasure, and can't wait to have you guys back on in the future. And honestly, glad you enjoyed it, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks of your fandom experience. It's what you guys make of it on your own. And if you took memories you'll have forever, then there's nothing better than that.
Hey, viewers. That's his way of saying that as soon as he hangs up on us, he's going to shit on the movie.
You guys are completely welcome to stick around for the review if you like. But it's nice to, have some positivity out there. So it's good. There's way too much negativity out there about everything nowadays. So good to start things off on the right foot than the wrong foot.
Well, thanks for having us, guys. We appreciate it.
Alrighty, there you have it. Zach and Mondo. And in about, 30 seconds or so, we'll be joined by two sexy motherfuckers and Matt Whitfield. We'll see you on the flip side. Wow, it got busy in here. It got very busy in here. All right, so before we move on to an intro of these guys officially, I'm just going to give my review of the movie quick, and I'll let Matt chime in because Matt apparently has seen the movie as well. So this is what I would say about Jurassic World Dominion. It is absolutely worth the price of admission. I think if you have, I think it was $16 Canadian or something for a standard ticket. Jade and I still have free tickets to Landmark over in Whitby, so we didn't have to pay, which is a pleasure. So I can't bitch that much. But it was a fun popcorn movie. I just kind of feel like these movies are supposed to be more than popcorn movies, if that makes any sense. Jurassic Park, the original, not that you should compare the two because that's not really fair, is one of the greatest pieces of cinema ever made, period, in my opinion. If it wasn't for the success of Jurassic Park, you don't even get the Star Wars prequels. That's a fact. Although maybe that would have been a good thing for Johnny. So, anyhow, I really enjoyed parts of the movie. Sam Neill is amazing in this. Is Alan Grant. Jeff Goldblum's Jeff Goldblum. The OG cast returning was handled gracefully, I think, and comes across very well. The chemistry between the new cast and the old cast is I'd say on point, as good as it can be for the limited screen time I'd say they all get together. However, I think this movie for the first half, I don't know if this is a universal thing or not, because it sure as hell feels like one. Thinks it's James Bond meets Mission Impossible, and I'm sorry, I'm not buying Bryce Dallas Howard trying to be James Bond for several different parts of the first half of this movie. And again, it's not really spoiling anything. There's action in a Jurassic Park or Jurassic World movie. Shocker. It just, I don't know. It felt like it was having an identity crisis for the first half of the movie. And I thought Zach actually summed it up best. It's a movie about a lot deeper meaning. And dinosaurs are just kind of in the movie. And the original movie's like that too. The difference is the original movie isn't too long and does it well, and this movie is a convoluted mess at times. That said, I would definitely recommend everybody go see it. I didn't get to see it in IMAX. Again, I didn't have to pay for my ticket, so IMAX wasn't an option. But I imagine that this thing, I think Zach and Mondo said they've seen it in Dolby Digital. So, I mean, to me, there's probably no better theater viewing experience in the world than that. So, I mean, 3D is always crap in my opinion. So I wasn't too shocked that 3D didn't go necessarily their way, but I don't know. It just, it felt like there was some very forced parts at times. And I'll say this, without going into spoilers, there's a moment towards the end of the movie that is by far the most emotional moment in the movie, in my opinion. And it has nothing to do with any nostalgia or returning characters or anything like that. It's a focus on something that's been a theme throughout this batch of movies. And it honestly makes me want to go back and like really do a deep study on The Last Jedi now for Star Wars, because, you know, say what you want, in even all of those movies, at least the returning characters don't like it never really becomes their movie. It's still the new characters movie. And I haven't seen the movie 4 times, so Zach and Mondo might feel differently. I felt like from the point that the movie really picks up around the halfway point, it's not the new characters movie anymore. It's an even split between the new characters and the old characters. Dare I say, even at times, maybe the new characters taking a bit of a back seat. And I don't know if that needed to happen. I mean, I love the nostalgia and I love Sam Neill. We've waited too long to see him, in my opinion. But I thought the most emotional moments were still the ones that had to do with the story that's being told over these 3 movies. And I think they did some of that story a disservice by maybe focusing too much on nostalgia-driven points. Matt, how did you feel?
Well, I'm kind of like you. I wasn't the biggest fan of the first half. The second half got really going, I was a fan. Overall, for me, it was a good Jurassic Park movie. Now, if I'm thinking of it as like the final movie of this whole spiel, I don't think it was a good way to end it. I mean, for me personally, I think there was way too much callback. It seemed like every other scene there was a callback. Every other scene there was a callback to something. And I mean, I get fan service and doing callbacks, but I almost felt that a lot of that movie was callback overload. Would I go out? I mean, do I think it's a good movie? Go, like you said, sit down, have a good time, drink a drink, have popcorn. Yeah. but the way to end that whole series, trilogies altogether, I'm a little disappointed. But it was still a great movie. I just went and ended it the way that they did. That's me.
It's worth going to see. It's. I think maybe Zach thought I was going to get on here and like shit all over it. I see him creeping in the green room still, by the way, and he's waving. But no, I don't think it's this like horrendous piece of cinema by any means. I just would have liked to see these storied franchises. And to be clear, let's be perfectly clear. This is not the end of the Jurassic franchise. People can say that however they want, but there's several billion reasons why there will be more Jurassic something 5, 10, 15 years from now. And actually, the biggest thing that's probably in development for Jurassic wise is we've heard almost nothing on this for a little while now, but in one of the last Universal stockholder meetings, they've been floating around the idea of like actually doing Jurassic Park. Only, obviously, it's not real dinosaurs; they'd be animatronics. But I think there's a lot of people that if they built a Jurassic Park, like a full-scale Jurassic Park filled with animatronics, people would absolutely go and spend all their fucking money on that shit all the time. So I wonder if that's the next big thing for them, not so much a movie, but we'll have to wait and see. Anyways, welcome to the show. First up, he is the man behind the Dark Match Drive. He has his top 3 Royal Rumble matches for later tonight, which is good because I only have 2 of my 3 at the moment, and I'm going to have to pull one out of my ass. It's Mr. Jer. What's going on, dude? Thanks for making me laugh and shake my head when they were on here, too. They thought I was...
it helps to unmute yourself.
Yeah, this time it wasn't me either. He muted himself.
Stupid mic didn't even work.
That's because it was a battery.
I am doing really good. I am personally not that big of a Jurassic Park fan, so I've just kind of been tuning in and out. But I remember that one scene where the guy sat on the toilet and got absolutely mangled. So
yeah, you prefer your dinosaurs to be 60-year-old Japanese men who refuse to retire.
Exactly, right? You know, it's a good time. So, no, I'm excited to get into some Royal Rumble talk. And in doing research for it, I'm kind of curious if one of them that I picked is going to pop up. So I kind of went off script for what I would really like, just because I really want to talk about a different one. So we'll see.
Oh, God, you picked the greatest Royal Rumble, didn't you?
I was tempted, but I did not.
50 people. Also joining us, he is the host of the Take One podcast. He recorded a brand new Halloween Ends video with me last night that will release tomorrow for everybody on the channel. It's Mr. Bish. What's going on, dude?
Not much, man. Glad to be here. Glad to be on a panel with everybody, all these beautiful people except for Matt. So ready to get it rolling.
You can go to hell.
I'm sorry, your mic is having issues. I can't hear you.
I said you can go to hell.
I think you might be coming.
Why is Tony Schiavone on the panel?
Matt, check your input. I think you might be coming through your laptop and not your actual headset.
Okay.
Anyways, while he's doing that, that's Matt, by the way. He is not asleep yet. And we'll see how long that lasts for. This is what we have for you for the rest of the show. Our show schedule is a Halloween Ends rant to begin. I'm going to get into that in about 2 seconds. Okay, a little more than that. Joker sequel details of the Cinematic Showdown tonight. We will decide the winner of that. Where is Tommy B, you ask? Well, he hasn't finished his move yet. That's where he is, and Kieran is taking a personal day, so you have the 5 of us. So originally there was going to be 6 of us, but I guess 5 of us assures that someone's going to win this thing. Without
Love you, Kieran.
But yeah, okay, guys, Halloween Ends. I need a moment. I need a moment because I'm starting to go fucking mad. Okay. We got to can the background music for this. Okay. Halloween ends. So tonight we're going to reveal a little something to you publicly that definitely has the legs to be its own video, and we could play for the clicks and really aim to, I guess, capitalize off of this information. But I'm going to give you a little bit of a peek behind the curtain tonight, to show you how full of shit other content creators are. I say this because I'm sick of hearing about it. I'm sick of it sliding into the DMs. So I'm just going to address it on air. Let's start off with this. And some of this might be spoiler information, so just getting that out of there now. Halloween ends. I don't care how many subscribers the YouTube channel has. I don't care how much they think they fucking know or how much clickbait they want to put out there. Michael Myers does not fucking talk in Halloween Ends. It does not happen. It won't happen. It was never going to happen. And yes, when you put that as the title of your fucking YouTube video, it is clickbait. Even if you say it's not, it is. Get a fucking dictionary. All right. So he doesn't talk. All right. And I'll let these four be my therapy at the end of this, or if they have any questions or clarification they need. He doesn't fucking talk. So that one's out. Let's get rid of that. People are full of shit. He doesn't kill himself either. He does not jump off that fucking bridge. He doesn't come to his senses and then him go, "Oh, I've put you through so much hell, Laurie. I'm so sorry." And then swan dive off a bridge. Doesn't happen. I don't know where people make this shit up, but it doesn't happen. Laurie doesn't die in the first 15 minutes of the film, and she does not go catatonic despite what Reddit wants you to believe. Silver Shamrock, the Juror's great displeasure, is not behind Michael Myers' attack in this trilogy. They're not going to start randomly going do 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 do. It doesn't fucking happen. There's no mine shaft at the beginning of the movie. That one on this guy right here, because for months I thought there was a mine shaft at the beginning of the movie, to the point where we even thought we knew a location where it might have been filmed. But our knowledge as we sit here today says that didn't happen. We're the ones that put that out there. So guess what that means? Fandom Empire was wrong. We were wrong. I was wrong about the mine shaft. But we can own up to it. Okay, we were wrong about this particular thing. Michael and Laurie are not fucking brother and sister. That's not going to change. They're not going back on that. They made clear that they had one planned out direction for this, and it wasn't to go back and do what's already been fucking done. So that's not happening either. Judith is not coming back. I know that was everyone's favorite Halloween Kills theory. Oh, Judith. Maybe Judith didn't die. Judith is dead. Just like Karen. Karen is dead. D-E-A-D. Yes, Matt. Karen is fucking dead. Get over it. Judy Greer, more or less, not coming back. Leave it at that. So, yeah. I know that's a bunch of content that people keep pushing out there. Some of them more than the others. But none of that shit, guys, is happening. None of it. Not one of those fucking things that I just mentioned is happening, at least to our knowledge. I guess if it happens, then I'll have to come on here and be like, hey, it didn't happen. I'm just saying, before you go and super chat all your hard-earned money away to content creators who don't know what they're talking about, and I'm not saying give it to us, because if you think that we're worthy of it, great. And if you don't, that's fine too. But Mike, you and I'm going to move you up here, sir. You and I last night talked about a topic that I'm going to bring up that if other content creators knew that this happened in the movie, there'd be 10 billion fucking people making videos about it. Do you not agree? Well, where's your stance on that before we actually say what it is?
100% agree. Pretty big, pretty important. I would agree.
I don't know if it's like huge, but my point is like, it's a piece of information that's in Halloween Ends that people have speculated about for a very long time. People have speculated about it for a very long time. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. I hope people are looking at their phone screens and or computer monitors. Now, Mike, you and I talked about it last night. My point is people will put out whatever content they feel can get clicks. Not everybody's like this, by the way. There are legitimate, decent YouTubers out there that don't try to mislead their audience and are upfront. But don't you think if people actually had the information and were being on the level, that this particular topic that we're about to discuss, albeit is a small passing moment in the movie that has deeper meaning, there'd still be a bunch of people making videos on this. And I'm sure now a bunch of people will claiming that they had the information the entire time. So,
No, I mean, I 100% agree. Whether you're a channel that, goes by clickbait or not, this is information that if you had it, you would run it and it would be in that title because it would bring the clicks, it would bring the viewers. So yeah, and I haven't seen that anywhere until you brought that up to me.
and by the way, this isn't clout chasing or pushing. This is simply saying don't believe everything you fucking hear on the internet because even we can be wrong. But specifically, just because someone has 30 or 40 or 50,000 YouTube subscribers does not mean they know what they're talking about. Just because someone writes for Bloody Disgusting does not mean they know what they're talking about. It's a mutually beneficial relationship, that particular one. I'm sure you can figure out who I'm referring to, those that really follow people in the community. I think if people really were putting out honest material about Halloween Ends, they might talk about, the fact that Charlie Bowles gets brought up in Halloween Ends and more insight is given on that particular story that was shared in 1978. You'd have 10,000 fucking thumbnails going on about Charlie Bowles this, Charlie Bowles that. And do you know how many other people I've seen even comment on this? The answer is none. Not one of them I've seen. Maybe they've brought it up in a live stream, but it's what makes me believe that there's not as many people out there that have information on this movie as what they claim. Keeping in mind a third of this movie or in and around there is going to get reshot. So, Matt, the Charlie Bowles bit, dude, I think this is your first time hearing about it. Is that like a big deal for someone like you who's a pretty big Halloween fan, or is it just kind of like, oh, that's a nice little nod?
A little both. I think it's a nice little nod, and I think it's, depending on how they go with it and how in depth they go with it, it could be interesting. But for me, it's a little bit of both.
The way Charlie Bowles gets brought up, and hopefully it stays in the movie, because if it's not in the movie, I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, they cut it. Then we're just wrong. That's simple. But there's good reason why his story gets brought up is because there's another character that requires exposition, and the town of Haddonfield feels a certain way about this character, and it's not a character that you know. It also ties into some of the Glass Hill stuff, and it takes the movie in a little bit of a different direction, at least from one character's point of view. So there's reason for the story to get brought up too. It's not just like, oh, hey, this is a nice callback. You're dealing with exposition for one of the characters that allows that story to get told. So, yeah, it's kind of where I am with that. That's my Halloween Ends rant. Anyways, sorry guys, I'm I get it. Halloween's our big topic. We get messaged about this shit all the time. And then you have a guy like Saturn who, anytime you mention Halloween Ends, he's going off the friggin' the deep end, and he's super excited for the movie. I just think there's a lot of content creators out there being really disingenuous with their audience, and totally intentionally leading them down the wrong way. And it's just not the type of person I'm going to be. And we could have made a short little 8-minute video out of what we just mentioned, Mike and I, and it probably would have did 5,000-10,000 views and made the channel $30-$40 on the video. And we just wanted to get that out there now and correct some of the other BS that's out there in terms of Halloween Ends. But let me ask you guys this. Well, it doesn't pertain to Halloween Ends specifically. What do you guys have to say about just disingenuous content creators out there that, what would your advice be in terms of who you follow, who people spend their hard-earned money on? Like, at one point, do you cut bait and go the other way? I'm just curious. These guys didn't know this topic was coming tonight because I wasn't exactly sure it was going to lead this way. But I would like everybody to have a second to just sort of vent a little bit here because, hey, money doesn't grow on trees. And I don't know about the rest of you guys, but when someone's intentionally disingenuous, it definitely rattles me a lot. Who wants to go first?
Try planting a money tree.
Can I plant several? Do you have them? Do I have to pay for them?
I mean,
okay.
Go ahead.
For me, when I started really getting into watching videos about spoilers and stuff and what people had to say, my first real introduction to all this stuff was Mike Zero. When I started watching.
See, Mike Zero's satire, though.
Yeah.
I think that
I had learned that. But I was one of those that hung on every word he said. And I believed a lot of what in the beginning. But as over time, and then I started watching stuff like Halloween, and then all these content creators just going out for knowing damn good and well what they're saying is bullshit.
By the way, this is breaking right here from our source. Keeping in mind, it's literally it could go either way. I don't even have a release date. Maybe someone can pull it up as I say it here. And if we're wrong on this, apologies, but this is literally coming straight out of the mouth of our source. There will be no Halloween Ends trailer attached to the Black Phone now. And Halloween Ends will be attached to Nope. I don't know when Nope comes out. I know someone who's seen a test screening of that and they hated it.
July 21st.
July 21st. So all of a sudden that gives you time to get through your reshoots. And my guess is you're going to see a much different trailer than what was shown at CinemaCon. I see no reason to hold off that long. So we'll see. Maybe the information's wrong. Maybe we'll have a Halloween Ends trailer in the next 10 days, but we've been talking about it for a while now. We've not seen the trailer get rated. I know someone told our friend Saturn in the chat that the trailers have to be rated to be shown at CinemaCon, but showing them to theater owners and exhibitors is not the same as showing it to a live audience. And I have never, ever heard of trailers needing to be rated before them being shown at...
I mean, they might have to be pre-screened by the organizing panel, but that'd be about it.
More importantly, he says this is according to, he got this information directly from somebody that he knows and works pretty high up in the movie theater industry. So yeah. No Halloween. I mean, I guess that's breaking news, but no Halloween Ends trailer anytime soon. And I know everybody under the sun was saying the black phone, including us, but I think we came on here last week or the week before, one of the two, and said, hey, trailer hasn't been rated yet. They're running out of time to rate it, to attach it to the black phone. And now I would suggest that it could be more than a month before you see a Halloween Ends trailer. Slightly.
Yeah, but I mean, yes, it could be attached to that movie. It doesn't mean they can't release a trailer a week or two before it goes on with that movie. I mean, they've had the other two get released late June, early July. So you can't tell me that they might not still release it the end of June, beginning of July. So yes, it might be attached to Nope.
The end of June. If they're attaching it to Nope, you're right that they could put it out there a week before Nope comes out. That's doable, and still about a month from now. But if you still think this thing's coming in 2 weeks,
God, no,
happening. And my guess is they're probably recutting a entirely new trailer too. So not necessarily full of the reshoots, because that stuff won't be in shape to be put into a trailer more than likely, unless it's like a single shot or something. But yeah, that's the Halloween Ends stuff that's debuting. I see Freddy's back to his old tricks. Halloween Ends trailer debuts October 14th. Good stuff. Anyways, did anybody else have anything they wanted to chime in there on content creators, or are we good to keep
spend your money on who you want to spend your money on?
Yeah,
exactly.
You should be able to. I mean, some of them are good, but more often than not, you'll be able to tell if someone's being on the level with you or not. You know, if they get 9 out of 10 things wrong, it's probably not a bad streak. Just say it's probably, you know, if they look and smell like the Brooklyn Brawler, they probably are the Brooklyn Brawler. Just throwing that out there.
Actually, funny story about the Brooklyn Brawler that my buddy Tarek posted today, of all days. He's working Brooklyn Brawler on an indie show, and Brawler's like 52 years old. And Tarek's like, okay, I'll go down and you hit me with an elbow. And Brawler's like, well, I don't think I can do that, brother. I got to look strong. Like he's getting booked on TV at 52. He just didn't want to take a bump.
Wow.
I'm only going down for the finish. That's it.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, isn't that directly words out of Honky Tonk Man's mouth?
Yep.
All right, so bear with us here. This next part's going to get a little bit clunky, people. But first up, just want to say that this was officially announced. Talkville, a Michael Rosenbaum and Tom Welling podcast that will look over the entire Smallville series on a weekly basis. I'm looking forward to this. I think that's badass. It gives me a reason to rewatch the series again. And they also confirmed they are still hard at work on the animated follow-up. I hope it's not the animation in these pictures. I'll just throw that out there now. Joker sequel, fellas, before we go any further. It's happening. It sounds like Lady Gaga is all but officially in the movie. It's going to be a musical, which is a huge gamble that honestly could end up blowing up in their faces. I can admit that. Also has incredibly high reward potential. And it also sounds like this one's less sure, but I've seen it in a few places over the last few days. It sounds like Willem Dafoe is going to be a part of this as well. So I can't name a single Lady Gaga song. I'm not kidding. Not one of them. However, I've seen her act in multiple things, and she can act. It's not if she can act, she can act. It's that simple. Thoughts on Joker's sequel, which I think we established when you translate it is either Madness of 2. Was that what it translated to, Johnny? I think you looked up the translation.
Yeah.
Basically, anyways.
Don't give him credit. It was me.
Oh, maybe it was you. Yeah, okay.
Well, I said it also be interpreted as chaos for 2. Thank you. So.
Chaos for 2, yeah. And to be honest, going out and announcing that this is a musical is chaos in its own right, and it's created that too. So if they were looking for publicity, they got it. Mike, why is this a good or bad idea, man? Where are you with it?
Oh man, I'm out.
Ooh.
I mean, I'll see it, but I mean, you go back to last stream, and I was looking forward to it. Now I think they're in the treading waters where they can destroy this. But that's coming from me, who's somebody who doesn't like musicals. This might be perfectly great for somebody who does enjoy musicals.
So hang on. You said you don't like musicals?
No, I would say, okay, I like one, and it's The Wizard of Oz. And you know how many times I've rewatched that? Like twice, maybe. Is there a good movie out there that are musicals? Somebody, please, on the panel, tell me.
It's about what you like or don't like.
Yeah,
I mean,
different types of musicals too, like vastly different types of musicals.
So that they lost me. Lady Gaga, people were freaking out. I've seen her in so many things. She's phenomenal as an actress. I'm not worried about that at all. I'm not worried about any of that. They just kind of lost me with the musical thing, to be honest with you. That's really my main complaint. I mean, I already had worries about it, being a sequel in general, but I'm just not a big musical guy. So for me personally, I'm going to be out on that.
So like you're not even going to go see it, is what you mean?
Not opening weekend like I did with the first one. It'll probably be a second or third week one. So,
all right, Johnny, you haven't seen the first one, but tell me why you hate this idea.
Because it doesn't make sense to me. Like, I mean, it could. I mean, I think if there's any character in, the comic book multiverse that could support a musical, it's probably the Joker. But I don't know. I mean, all the good things people talk about the first movie are the reality. Is how real it is. And I just don't know if you can achieve that with a musical, because box office wise, I looked this up. Box office musicals do not make bank. They don't. They struggle to make those super high numbers. I mean, so I don't understand why they would go this directly. It doesn't make sense to me. It's so tonally different from the first one that it just doesn't make sense. I mean, can you make it make sense if it's not a full-on musical? Sure. But, if you're going to include musical numbers in this film, then you need to make it make sense. And, I mean, you could, if you go down the route that, that Lady Gaga isn't playing, fully transformed Harley Quinn, but is actually Dr. Harleen Quinzel. Then
that's where it starts, but who knows?
Then, the Joker sort of internalizing his treatments into musicals, I think makes perfect sense. And that's a route that you could take it that I would actually be okay with. I mean, I'm gonna be perfectly honest. Last night I sat up, I was gonna watch it. My plan was last night I was gonna watch the Batman and then I was gonna watch the Joker, so that you'd shut the fuck up and get off my ass for not having seen either of them. But then all this musical stuff came out. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm not. No,
your vote is voided for this match.
It is not, because I watched the Batman yesterday.
Oh.
But I was going to watch the Joker after I finished Batman, but because of all the musical crap, I was like, no, thank you.
Right now. Actually, he was way more positive on the last episode of Obi-Wan than I was. I'll say this: I love the first movie. Like, I really love the first movie. I don't know if people can make that out, but it's on there. I dig it. I would have been fine. I would have been completely fine if they came back and they were like, No, I fucked up my camera. Sorry, 1 second, people. I would have been fine if they were like, "Hey, we're just
Relatable.
we're gonna do something similar to the first movie, but it's a continuation." I don't think anybody would have bitched about that. I think everybody would have been fine about that. However, I would not be surprised, and I mentioned this in our chat earlier, is if pitching it as a musical is what got Joaquin Phoenix to be like, okay, well, this is very different, so I'll do it. Because as I believe Johnny pointed this one out last week, is Joaquin Phoenix has never done a sequel, ever. It's why he turned down Doctor Strange. It really isn't just about money for that guy. So you give me Todd Phillips, you give me Joaquin Phoenix, you give me Lady Gaga, and if somehow Willem Dafoe gets in there too, and if you can find a way to do a musical and still capture similar tones to the first movie, it could be like we're talking. Mike, you might think I'm nuts for saying this. I think that like we're talking Academy Award-winning level of film, and that's the other thing that you will get with this is most times comic book movies are dismissed from that immediately. You strap musical to the title of this film, the sequel of a film that already had Academy Award wins, and all of a sudden you might get some people's attention. However, well, it could be a masterpiece, and it could blow people away, and it could be something that reinvents the Comic-Con or comic franchise, Comic-Con genre, and allows them to maybe other titles take exploration like this. It also now is at way more of a risk of just sinking terribly and hitting that proverbial terrain. So I will say that I'm way more worried about this movie than I was, but I also think with the team that's behind it and the just pure talent involved, it could be something truly dynamic and truly special. Jerry, your thoughts on Joker sequel? I don't know if you've seen the first one, but being a musical.
I just really want to hear Joker sing 525,600 minutes.
And just like I said, do you honestly believe the Joker pays rent?
No.
So
But he certainly owns emotion. He owns a lot of them.
But yeah, no. Any thoughts on them going musical?
It feels like a curveball, which is strange because usually a curveball like this would be for a movie that didn't really hit that well. Yeah, Sweeney Todd was fantastic, and I think it feels like they're doing something out of the ordinary just for the sake of it, rather than necessary, hey, we need more eyes on this. The first one wasn't that good. It's different. It feels... It's weird because they didn't... It's such an offshoot from the first one that it's going to be a totally different movie. And I don't know if that'll be a good thing. But that's the thing. It got people talking about it. We're talking about the fact that it is a musical right now. So was that the purpose? Maybe. I mean, people are going to want to... I mean, they're curious about it. Is it a good curious? I guess we'll wait and see. But, I mean, it got buzz. It's a weird buzz. It's not your typical movie buzz where they announce a sequel and then 2 weeks later it's like, oh yeah, and it's a musical. So I'm intrigued just to see how well it'll translate to the box office. Was this a good gamble of let's kind of flip the script on this and go with a musical? And how well does that tie into the subtitle of the movie and all sorts of stuff? So it'll be interesting.
Dean says there was such a chance of deeper dive into Arthur Fleck's mind. Just go more dark and twisted. I would say that the musical, there's still just as much of a chance that all of that happens. I truly believe that. Again, though, I'm just more worried that they don't stick the landing now. I'd also be curious to find out if Joaquin Phoenix has ever done a musical.
Walk the Line.
Walk the Line. Oh, right.
Johnny Cash.
Yeah, Johnny Cash. So I don't know why hell I didn't think of that. That's not just like a good pick. That's a great biopic.
Did the music for that too himself, so he does have a voice.
That's incredible. And knowing Joaquin Phoenix, he'll be full method, go fully into it, and really looking forward to it. Matt, thoughts on the Joker sequel being a musical, sir?
Well, my grandfather was in the New York Metropolitan Opera in the late 30s and early 40s. So, and then down here in Richmond, my grandmother produced and did music for some musicals. So I kind of grew up around musicals when I was younger. In high school, I actually did Bye Bye Birdie with our sister school. So if it's done right, a musical could be very good, like Walk the Line. Probably one of the best musicals ever done. And I don't doubt Joaquin Phoenix. And like you said, they're doing a deeper dive into his mind. This could get interesting. And how didn't he say my life is a musical or something? My life is something when he was having the interview with Murray, something like that. Because I keep on my mind goes to that line, something he said around that, like my life's a musical or something like that.
The dude is as talented as they come. Like
I know, but if anybody can pull it off, it's Joaquin Phoenix. If anybody can pull Harley Quinn off, Lady Gaga can pull her off. I don't know what they're going to do with William Dafoe, but it's going to get interesting. But I have faith it's going to what the direction they'll go, even if it is a musical. It's not going to be your normal expected musical with like a 60s or a Mary Poppins or a
I love that you worded it that way, and this is not a shot at you, Matt, or a shot at Mike, or even Dean in the chat, or anybody else. But the amount of people that I've seen bitch online in the last, couple of days, that clearly have no idea what musicals are, is truly mind-boggling. There's people that think you can only have a musical if it's start to finish with music. It's like, so you've never actually seen a musical in your life. Okay, good to know. That's awesome. Cool. That's great. And I honestly think there is this narrative out there. Oh, musical, that's too feminine. And I'm sorry, but that narrative does exist. Not with the people I just mentioned, obviously. I think stand-up individuals. But there is a narrative like that exists. And it's kind of a shitty narrative. And I
watch Sweeney Todd and call that feminine.
Yeah.
Or hell no. Yeah. I was just thinking that one too.
Hamilton is another example.
Cyrano.
Look how popular. Yeah.
Cyrano can be feminine at times, but you know what? It's a deep, heartbreaking drama based off of, I don't know if it was a play or a novel.
Based on the name, I'm guessing it's a Cyrano de Bergerac.
Yes. It's fantastic. I think you would love it.
Classic novel from like the
Les Mis.
The hundreds.
Another one.
Yes.
I love the
that one. That one I'd be okay categorizing as a feminine title.
Hugh Jackman's in
It's good.
Yeah.
But it is a bit more feminine in presentation. Not that that's a bad thing or anything, but it doesn't help the stereotype we're trying to dissuade.
For sure.
And no,
Rock of Ages. How is that feminine?
I didn't like Rock of Ages. I'll be honest. That one was, I don't know. It didn't hit me the same way that some other musicals have hit me. I do think that's one that people watch and go, oh, so this is what every musical's like. And it's like, no,
God,
every musical's like that at all. So,
musical episodes don't count of TV shows. They just don't count.
Mike looks visibly disgusted every time you say it's going to be good.
No, I hope it's going to be great. Like I want to be wrong. Like I don't want to go into this thinking, wanting it to be trash. And if it's good, I'll I'll say that it was good. I want it to be good. I love Joker. I think it's one of the best comic book films of all time.
Damn right.
So look, I
You'll
want
eat your
nothing.
crow happily.
All right, Mike.
Yeah,
real
I
quick.
will.
Did you,
What's up?
Mike? Real quick. Did you ever see Walk the Line?
Saw Walk the Line. That was phenomenal. My first ever movie that I saw, Joaquin Phoenix, and it comes to mind is Ladder 49. You want to talk about a performance, but then again,
God, yeah. That's a good movie.
Every performance with him is phenomenal. So, like I said, that's the reason why I'm gonna go see the movie, is because of him and the stars. They're casting everything right. They're doing everything right in that spectrum. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I do think it's a double-edged sword here. I think that on one hand, it could be a masterpiece that it gets Academy Award consideration. It's a game changer, and I also think they diverged so far from what the first movie was that it could blow up in their faces. I don't know what it is. I firmly don't believe it'll land somewhere in the middle. I think it'll be one end or the other, and I'm not sure which one it'll be, but I guess we'll find out in due time. Anyways, fellas, it's time to keep this ball rolling. It's time for the gauntlet. Alrighty, in today's gauntlet, we have 5 topics that we're going to get to, and we are going to start with Mr. Jer. I don't remember what it is. It just says wrestling, so it was something wrestling you were going to talk. So have it away and stop when you hear the buzzer, please. You have 100 seconds starting now.
Now?
Yes, sir. Now. We'll start.
Okay.
I think he was waiting to see himself on the screen.
So, Forbidden Door is June 26th, and it is hitting a lot of snags in the past 2 weeks. The original plan was obviously CM Punk and Hiroshi Tanahashi for the AEW World Championship. Punk reportedly breaks his foot or something in his foot. He's out. Okay, we'll do the little tournament thing. That has led to Jon Moxley versus Hiroshi Tanahashi. That's all good and well. And then this past week, Jeff Hardy gets caught with a DUI, and you'd figure the Hardys were going to be an important part of Forbidden Door as well. That's off the table, as Hardy is now seeking treatment and is not allowed back until he is sober. And then the latest snag that this is hitting is an interpromotional problem in Mexico. Is having an effect on Forbidden Door. So Andrade, Penta Oscuro, and Rey Fenix all work for AAA in Mexico. Seems fair. Why would they not be allowed? They obviously work AEW shows. The problem is New Japan has a partnership with AAA's rival promotion, CMLL, in Mexico. So AAA is essentially saying to those 3 wrestlers, no, we don't want you working a New Japan promoted show because they work with CMLL. And it's a bunch of politics, and it sucks because the show is going to be worse off because of this. I mean, obviously Andrade was factored into this show, and he's super mad about it right now on Twitter. He tweeted yesterday, I can't work with New Japan, thanks CMLL and AAA. So it's just a bunch of politics, and it's hurting the show. And it sucks because the show would be better off with those 3 wrestlers on the card.
Oh, wow. You didn't even use your 100 seconds. You had 8 seconds to spare.
I didn't want to hit the buzzer. I figured I'd cut it off early.
Yeah, that's too bad. I mean, I told you a while ago we wouldn't be doing Forbidden Door here. But I kind of hope they lower the pay-per-view price for it then, because it's, I don't know, the card might be great for diehards, but you're not.
Apparently, they're going to hammer out a lot of the card tomorrow night on Dynamite.
That's cool. That's something.
Idea. I mean, they've got 2 weeks, so they got to do something. They've only got 2 matches booked, and we don't even know the guy in the All Atlantic title match.
All right, so no Kieran here tonight, and I don't think Matt had a chance to do a gauntlet topic, so we're going to move on to Mr. Bish. Scream 6, man. What the hell's going on? What are you hearing? Lots of rumors out there.
Yeah, man. Obviously, the big news that we talked about last week, Nev Campbell not returning for this film, has fans upset. A lot of the cast members have commented on the film or commented on that topic, as well as past Scream legends, and the support for Nev is out there. So she's definitely going to be missed. But I'll tell you this. A lot of set photos have been leaked. Obviously, they have started filming in Montreal. Scream 6 is set to take place in New York City. That is what is out there. So we'll be moving out of Woodsboro. I don't know if it'll be for sure. I'm sure there will be some type of ties in some way back to Woodsboro, where we'll see some filming in the classic town of Woodsboro. But as of right now, it is set to take place in New York City. And a twist on this is there's been set photos released of what appears to be Gail Weathers' apartment in New York City, and a lot of people are focusing on the decor outside of her apartment, and that is Halloween decor. So a lot of speculation out there that Scream 6 will take place in New York City around Halloween. So yeah, man, we're going to get with the filming dropping, we're going to get a lot more set photos leaked and new information to arise. But as of now, New York City to be taking place in New York City for Scream 6 and possibly around the time of Halloween.
Everybody's just on a roll tonight. Nobody's using the full 100 seconds. So I'll get started here. And I won't either, because mine is very brief because there's not much information on it. But there is some belief that Netflix has started to move on I don't know if it'll be a trilogy, but the next batch of Fear Street movies. I'll be curious to see if Christopher Nelson from the most recent Halloween trilogy anyways, returns to that project. I really, really like the first 3 films, and think that they have the potential to do this little Fear Street universe thing that we're talking about. So I'm really looking forward to see what happens, but it's nice to know that there's some movement, and maybe a couple years from now, we'll be talking about 2 or 3 or 4 new movies heading to Netflix. Johnny, final up here, man, in the gauntlet, The Quarry. What's early word on that from most people out there?
I have no idea.
You haven't read any reviews or anything?
I've done literally no planning or reading or listening to anybody else playing. I mean, I've seen people that have been streaming it, and I almost joined a few of them. I've seen a clip here and a clip there from people who have been, but if it's something you're interested in seeing, you can watch me play it live on Twitch immediately following this show.
I will not, because it's something I'm hoping that I'll be able to get whenever it goes on sale several months from now. I don't want the story ruined for me. So, but it's like Heavy Rain, right? Every decision
there's said to be over 1,000 different permutations the story can take.
Excellent. I like that. I dig that a lot. So, that's very interesting. Let's see what happens. Anyways, that's going to be the gauntlet for tonight, ladies and gentlemen, which brings us to our next segment, and it's time to pick a winner. It's the Cinematic Showdown. All right, it's Cinematic Showdown time. We started with The Dark Knight, The Batman, Batman 89, and Batman Returns. And Johnny conveniently leaves as we get to this topic. But here we are in the final round. I believe what we're going to do for our next batch is it'll be an extended one, because this one's ending too soon. So the next one will start. July's will actually start next week, and we'll probably have 7 movies, and we'll have each host pick a movie, and we will pit those 7 movies against one another and see who comes up the winner for July. But let's decide the winner of June now. It's The Dark Knight, it's the Batman. Feel free to give some reason behind your answer, but we're not picking which one we're going to get rid of. We are picking who is the champion, which is the best Batman movie. Kieran's not here tonight. Tommy proxied a vote in. He said the Batman, and his reason was because. So, sounds like Tommy.
Can he cite his sources, please?
Without further ado, let's start to go around the table. Let's start with Jer. I don't even know if you've seen the Batman yet, dude. If you haven't, your vote doesn't count.
I saw the trailer.
So his vote doesn't count. All right. We'll move on to Mike then. Mike, give us your vote, man, and why.
I'm going to start off by saying that I really enjoyed these two films. I would say that they're number 1 and 2. Last week was hard for me because I really enjoyed 89, but The Batman is just a better film that I enjoyed. As much as I enjoyed The Batman, I'm going to have to go with The Dark Knight. I still remember my experience with The Dark Knight. I saw it in theaters 3 times. It's one of the best theater experiences I've ever had in my life. And I think it's the better film. And you know, this is very controversial, and I'm sure a lot of people won't agree with me, but The Batman isn't even the best movie I've seen this year.
Ooh,
so,
what is?
I thought Top Gun Maverick was better.
No, I haven't seen that yet. The Batman is the best movie I've seen this year. For me, my pick is The Batman, and it's not like by a landslide or anything. It's terribly close, and it makes me terribly sick to my stomach to have to pick just one of those movies. Because I love them both. But since you brought up theater experience, I'll blame the Dark Knight's theater experience on why the Batman wins for me, because it was a shit fest. The Batman, though, these are 2 of the best comic book movies ever made. And if you ask me 2 weeks from now, my answer might be the Dark Knight. It's that close. But tonight, it's the Batman. Matt?
You know, I think I'm right where you are, but and I'm also with Mike. Going to see Dark Knight, it's one of those theater experiences you just don't forget. I mean, unfortunately, I had to watch that movie like in the second row, so my neck is like this the whole damn time. I remember my neck was hurting like a motherfucker coming out.
That's
of
so funny.
theater.
I had the same experience.
Yeah, so I was like this the whole time. I was like, ever so slightly, I'm going to pick The Dark Knight. I just think it was a little bit better made movie, but I'm not taking anything away from the Batman. Robert Pattinson was great as the Batman. The scene, I mean, the characters were great in Batman, and they said we're in The Dark Knight too. But there's something about Christian Bale's Batman that I just like a smidge more. And I'm with Mike. The best movie I've seen this year is Top Gun Maverick.
You didn't fall asleep through it. That's impressive. It must be good.
Hey, shut up.
All right, Johnny. I don't have a proxy from Kieran. I know he had some stuff come up, so you're going to end up deciding the winner. So I know that's probably a unfair ask considering you've just seen one in the last 24 hours, but do your best to take us through this in a fair
it actually is much harder than I expected it to be. You know, I said there were a lot of things that I wasn't excited to see about the Batman, but I watched it last night. What she said. And I really, really enjoyed it. Again, there's some crow on my plate that I had to eat watching that film because I thought Robert Pattinson was an excellent Batman. I didn't expect the performance to be as good as it was. I mean, it's almost up there with Heath Ledger's Joker in the I never expected it to be this good category, which makes the decision so much harder because there's so many great things about both films. I'm excluding theater experience because I didn't see the Batman in the theater, so eliminate that, which is probably a good thing for this because, like Sean said, our experience watching The Dark Knight was awful. I've never sweat that much in a movie theater in my life. Which is saying something.
Sweating earlier, and I was just getting triggered. I'm like, oh God, no, that damn.
But for me, it comes down to the little things, and when you actually look at both stories, they are odd. They parallel each other in certain ways, which is very interesting. I like the interpretation of the Batman. Both Batman are very early in their. Both Bruce Waynes are early in their experience as Batman. I mean. Pattinson is in year 2, and by this point, I think Christian Bale would have been in like year 3 or 4.
No, he's only, I think it's 18 months.
Oh, I didn't even think it was that. I thought it was longer than that. So I mean, they're very similar then. But it's the little things that come down to as better. And the Batman has a lot of things that I like more than I like the Dark Knight. I much prefer the Batmobile in the Batman to the Dark Knight because I like the way they went. That sort of making the Batmobile a character.
Yeah,
making it more dark. And I don't even think you ever actually see the Batmobile. Just
not
sort of its. You see its sideline, its profile, its shadow, and
very
its
much
silhouette and the back of it, which were all great things. I like the way that Bruce Wayne acted and his interactions with Alfred. I love that relationship. All great things to say for the Batman. And to me, this one comes down to one factor, and that is the Dark Knight was a Joker story, and it was a story that I feel could have been ripped from the comic books. I felt the Batman, well, I liked the Riddler. I felt like they took two prominent comic book characters and mashed them together to make something I didn't like. They took the Riddler's actions and gave him the look of Hush, and I hated that. Because
that's not the first time I've heard that comparison.
The look of the character is just he looks like Hush, and had it have been a Hush story, and you actually get sort of tiptoes and nods to what could have made this a great Hush story. The relationship to Thomas Wayne, which Hush had as a character in the comics, all this, the crime families and all those things. The parallels between the two are so high that when you take the Joker and you make him look like Hush and then tell a Hush story, it takes away from some of it. Like once you actually take the mask off the Riddler and you see Dano in like the mental institution in Arkham at the end, phenomenal performance that I would actually put up there with Ledger's. It was that good to me because once you took the mask off, I could see the Riddler. But when he was wearing the mask, all I saw was Hush. And when you take sort of that split element of it, I gotta go the Dark Knight because top to bottom and start to finish, it is one character, it is one story that flows together. And negative points for the Batman incorporating one of my least favorite comic book things and making Carmine Falcone Selena Kyle's dad. I hated that in the comics and I hate that in the movie.
Yeah. I feel like they kind of built to it that coming in that movie. The Hush.
Oh, it worked, and it fit within the confines of the story. I just hate that comic book parallel.
I'm glad you liked the movie, though. I was really worried that you would.
An excellent movie. It's a little dark for my taste, like visually dark.
Oh, it is.
But I did within the confines of the story, it makes sense. But I could use a little brightness somewhere in the film.
Well, there you have it, everybody. The winner for June Cinematic Showdown is the Dark Knight edging out the Batman. So the Dark Knight will make it to the end of the year and compete for the movie of the year, the Fandom Empire movie of the year, which we will decide at the end of December. Dark Knight wins, and then next week we will introduce 7 new movies for you to compete in July's, and each of us will get to just pick a random movie that's in with these 7, and we'll go from there. But let's keep the ball rolling. In about I'm not going to try to do math at the moment, but at 2:30 a.m. this morning or tomorrow morning, I guess. Oh my god, it's so hard fucking keeping this proper.
Just under 4 hours.
Just under 4 hours from now, Johnny and I will be on previewing Obi-Wan Kenobi Part 5. But I'm going to take a moment here to talk about expectations. And then we're going to leave the rest for that. And that is this. And this can be conveyed as spoilers, so here's your spoiler warning. If you feel like you haven't gotten enough Hayden Christensen, don't miss the episode tonight, is what I would say. He gets his moment, for sure. And if you were hoping that the last 2 episodes were going to take a page out of Stranger Things book, that's just simply not happening. From what I understand, today's a pretty expensive episode. It's a big battle episode. They're doing the Game of Thrones thing, the penultimate episode. So you're going to get like runtime's probably somewhere between 40 and 43 minutes. That's with credits, so realistically about 35 minutes, and it's basically all battle, which sets the stage for the finale, which we believe is just over an hour long. So be on the lookout for Obi-Wan Kenobi airing at 3 a.m. Eastern. And yes, it's getting a limited theatrical release, although the limited part of that seems to be coming not so limited in certain areas. So we'll have to see how that ends up and where that goes. We'll get Mike out of here before wrestling because I'm sure he doesn't want to stick around for that. But dude, we just did a couple of Halloween videos. Stranger Things, I seen just dropped the first images to the final two parts.
I hate that.
Yeah. Nothing crazy. Nothing spoily.
I disagree with that. I mean,
one, but
yeah.
Okay, yeah, true.
The one with Steve and was it I can't remember if it was Robin or
Nancy.
Which one of them was with Erica? With Nancy and Erica at the computer.
Mm-hmm.
That's a pretty big one. That's the big one. Is Eddie's?
I kind of figured that though, right? Like I kind of figured that because
I thought there was a very strong chance that Eddie was either going to die in the Upside Down, or as soon as they came back out, they were going to run into the jocks and they were going to go vigilante justice on him right there.
Well, that's still possible because
it's still on the table, but I thought it would happen right away. You know, like they get out of the Upside Down and there they are right there. And that we escaped, but
man,
gave his life for nothing type thing.
That's going to be last episode type of thing. But yeah. Speaking of Stranger Things, though, now the most watched number one Netflix show of all time. So it passed Bridgerton. So
nice.
Thank God.
You got a podcast you're doing, dude. Why don't you tell people about that?
Take One Podcast. It's a film podcast about TV, movies, pop culture. It's available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, really anywhere that on all major podcast platforms. This week is going to be a pretty good one. It's been 28 years since the whole OJ Simpson fiasco, and then obviously since then we've had many documentaries. Probably one of the best 30 for 30 ESPN documentaries I've ever seen. So we're gonna touch on that, go through that, and then next week we're gonna bring Sean in. Sean's finally gonna join the show. So good few weeks to plan out. So can't wait.
Awesome, man. Appreciate you coming on and doing this. I know it's a bit of a shorter show tonight, but we got some intriguing shows coming up in the near future and can't wait to dive into it. And don't forget, Mike and I got a Halloween Ends video that will drop tomorrow. My guess is sometime between noon and 2 p.m. Eastern, so be on the lookout for that. We talk about the reshoots and some other cool things. So we'll see you next time, dude.
All right, see y'all.
All right, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the Dark Match Drive. Still don't have a intro for this. I need to get with Jer and get him to approve a couple of things for it. It's his baby. So Dark Match Drive, here we go. We only got about 15 minutes left in the show because I want to nap before Obi-Wan. Top 3 Royal Rumble matches of all time. I'm curious to see if we're going to have any of the same. We'll go clockwise. So we'll start with myself, and we'll go to Matt, Jer, and then Johnny. I know Kieran had some ready, but he never did send them to me. So what we'll do is we'll do one at a time. I'll say what I believe the year is and briefly why I like the match, and then we'll go on. And for me, it starts off with and this is like, I don't really have mine in particular order. It's not like, hey, this is my third favorite, second favorite, first favorite. Just here are my 3 favorite Royal Rumble matches. 1997, Stone Cold Steve Austin, the screw job Rumble. Brett should have won, damn it.
Brett did win, damn it.
Yeah, in your house. But I just love that because specifically in the Royal Rumble match, I don't think we'd ever seen that before. And like the controversy was real.
Closest was 95.
And I remember watching it at
94,
my cousin's house, and he just fucking went irate. Like full on through stuff because Brett got screwed. So it was a unique scene, needless to say. 97 Rumble match for me. Matt?
Mike's off. 1992 Royal Rumble. Flair in his first match Since coming over from WCW.
Is that 92 guys or 93?
No, it's 92. 93 was the first winner goes to WrestleMania.
So 92.
Yeah.
That's the one for the belt, right?
Yep. And Flair, I think, started third or fourth.
Third.
And went all the way. Not I think he pushed over Hogan because Hogan took out Sid Vicious.
Sid got Hogan, and then
Sid got Hogan.
Right,
and then Hogan got Sid.
Okay. All right, that's mine. And I mean, I always liked that one because I was always a Flair fan when I was younger. So to see him come over to WWF, I thought it was pretty awesome. And then to go ahead and win it right off the bat. That was cool.
I am not a big Ric Flair fan. Keeping in mind, I've really only seen his WWE/F and WCW stuff. I've never bought into the Ric Flair hype train at all. Find the guy annoying. Find his lifestyle choices pathetic, to be honest. That said, him in that Rumble match, I've watched at least 4 or 5 times. And considering just back then, guys were not going the whole Rumble match. That's incredible. And I don't know how old would he have been in that match? 40s?
Probably.
He's in his 70s now.
So probably early 40s-ish or so.
Yeah, that's probably right.
Yeah. I mean, and an underrepresented point of that match was Bobby Heenan on commentary. That was a Hall of Fame performance if I've ever heard one.
Yeah.
I mean, him flipping the switch on Piper when Piper's defending Flair for a second and then, no, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to call it a skirt. It's a kilt. It's a kilt. And then Piper punches Flair and he just flips the script. It was a skirt the whole time. But another thing is Savage forgets the rules at the end there and
that was the next
himself
year.
by jumping off the top to the floor.
Yeah, that
was that one. Okay, I thought we were because he forgot he clearly never learned them because the next year he tried to pin Yokozuna.
Yeah, he did this. Yeah, because I think this one was Jake.
That was just more because it was Jake, though. I mean, that was
for sure.
Blood feuds.
Yeah,
Yoko finish is brutal.
I actually liked it.
The crowd loved it. They couldn't tell on pay-per-view, but the crowd lost their mind when Hogan got tossed because everyone was kind of thinking, "Oh God, it's going to be Hogan again," and then Sid dumps him, and the crowd pops, and they edited it out on the Coliseum video release. The crowd was sick of Hogan by then.
I mean, I'll just echo the sentiments for 92 because everything we've said, it's the greatest Royal Rumble of all time, in my opinion. Ric Flair's performance coming in at number 3, lasting all the way through with the little stories strewn throughout. Like Jared said, the Roddy Piper storyline was great. From Flair's reaction when Piper first comes out to them briefly joining sides, to Piper hiding it, or to him hiding in the corner, and of course, like Jared said, Bobby Heenan with arguably the greatest performance of a color commentator all the time. I mean, how can you not? It's not fair to Flair. It's not fair to Flair. Like the lines, they stick out all the way through, and then you get the promo at the end with a tear in my eye. Today is the greatest day of my life.
Hey, put that cigarette out.
That's exactly what I was just about to say. One of the greatest off-the-cuff Mean Gene lines. Put that cigarette out.
So good.
It was perfect. Just absolutely perfect.
I'm confused. Did you both have 92 on your list?
I did.
And Johnny,
yeah.
I'd hope he did.
92 is consensus greatest Rumble of all time. I mean, I don't think anybody disagrees with that.
Well, I mean,
I mean like it's the consensus pick that everybody loves it.
I'll be honest. I think they missed the opportunity not having entrance music back then. You need entrance music. 92? No, they didn't.
They did at the beginning because Flair's music played.
I think only certain people.
They did. I think for the first few, and then they started running into a time crunch because I know Flair's music played. They may have edited it in for the Coliseum and network versions, but I'm positive that there's music on the network version right now and the Rumble anthology version that came out at this point 10 years ago.
That was the day and age where just if you came out 17, you weren't getting your music.
Yeah, I mean, I'm giving my top 3, but they're in no order because I mean, in my opinion, they're all great.
Go ahead. Yeah. Matt?
Oh, what I was saying was these 3 are not in order. I mean,
no, 92 is my favorite. I'm just saying.
I mean, 92 is still my favorite, but there's, I mean, I was asking Sean, I was like, do you want like specific matches at the Royal Rumble, or are you just right Rumble itself? So I was like, whew. Yeah, I mean,
Cards would have made this a very different conversation.
Oh God, yes.
Just
So
give
I
you
was
Some
like,
banger cards with some crappy Rumble matches and some great.
Oh,
Rumble
yeah.
matches
Even the
with some
92 had a
crappy
great
cards.
opener.
I'm not saying it. I'm not saying 92. I'm saying there are other ones like 97. Is there anything on that card with the Royal Rumble?
Yeah.
Exactly.
no.
Just give us the other two matches since we're on a time crunch. We'll get them all out of the way.
Okay, my other two.
5 minutes. So
My other two is Royal Rumble 2005, Cena, Batista, over the rope.
poor Vince. Poor
Vince. That's it.
Every famous players was laughing. I was one.
Tour squads coming down to the ring. That one has always really stuck out for me. I thought that was a good one.
Well, that finish was a shoot, too.
Yeah.
They both were
Yeah.
not supposed to go over. So Vince legit came out pissed off.
The
and
beauty
used-
of that finish, if you actually hear like Bruce Pritchard talking about it, is that the finish would have been completely different because they were scrambling. They didn't realize that Eric Bischoff and Teddy Long, both GMs at the time, had left the building early.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's
So
amazing.
they
I
were
didn't know
scrambling.
that.
Where's Teddy? Where's Eric? And it's like they're gone. So Vince is like, "Fuck it," and throws the headset down. That's why he does the power walk so intensely because that was not, he didn't want to be out there.
Of course.
And he's like, "Fuck." So he does
That's
the power walk,
amazing.
gets
I
in the
didn't know
ring,
that
tears
part.
both quads, and then tries to stand back up and realize, "Oh shit."
Yep.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen for you, man. For mine, I have 2002 there. Yeah, the Triple H return. The Mr. Perfect return.
Yep.
I Austin eliminates, I think, Chuck Palumbo, Saturn, and someone else. Christian might have been the other one twice. The Hurricane moment with Austin and Triple H. RVD comes in, hits everything in sight, and then it gets pedigreed, and Booker T comes up to like a limp RVD and just, oh, okay, I'll just throw you out of the ring. There's just so many like cool, fun moments in that Rumble that I just really, really love. And then I don't remember the number of it, but whatever one that ends with Michaels and Taker was very, very compelling. I think it was a Madison Square Garden one.
That was that's
no.
that's one of my other ones. That was 2007. So I took a couple notes on that one. Except RVD, all the ECW guys in the Rumble got totally embarrassed. Sandman lasted 13 seconds. Fit Finlay lasts 32 minutes in that match. It's phenomenal. Him and Benoit beat the tar out of each other. And
I'm sorry, you said Stevie Richards?
yeah. This one also had the great moment of the Great Khali comes in and beats everybody up, and then he doesn't know where the hard cam is. So he's posing, or he doesn't even pose. He just stands around looking, and Sean's on the mat covering his mouth saying, "Look at the fucking hard cam." So then the Great Khali poses for the hard cam. It's phenomenal. And then, of course, Sean and Undertaker are in the best closing segment in Rumble history because they go like a good 6 minutes. It's phenomenal stuff.
Yeah, I loved it.
Great one.
Johnny, what else did you have, man?
Oh man. Well, personal favorites, since that's what this is. For me, 1994. Because that one.
You're a big Luger fan.
Oh yeah, definitely a Luger fan. Luger's the reason I love that one. You had all of the most of the night, and that's one of those cards that had some great matches beforehand, and you had that casket match, which as a child scared the bejesus out of me to the point it would actually inflicted nightmares upon me as a child. 6 years old and seeing the Undertaker rise up through the Tron. Of course, I didn't know it was Marty Jannetty, but I mean it's the Undertaker rising up through, and there's nobody in the casket. And all that scared the bejesus out of me. I loved it growing up. Now I love it. Then it scared the crap out of me. But all of those built-in backstage moments that you had, was it Kabuki and Tenryu? Beat the crap out of Luger and try and eliminate him from the match. And, Brett had his leg kicked out of his leg. And then you had the non-entry, which you assumed was Brett, which turned out to be Bastion Booger, who had food poisoning, and then you get that whole build-up, and then Brett and Luger in the finish. They both go over the top, and, Brett being the consummate professional he is, threatening Luger's life if he fucks up the finish. I love all of those things, because they make a great match, and you finally get, the whole crowd. You finally get to see Vince and the company realizing Luger ain't all that when he gets, the less cheers than Brett did in that moment. And it just made
Yeah, it
you
was
know,
a
remember
shoot
them-
popularity contest.
Crap. We picked the wrong horse here. I loved it. I thought it was a great, for that moment, it's a great Royal Rumble.
I'll give them credit for that because I mean it was a shoot popularity contest based on who are we going with for the next 2
Who's
to 3
actually going to
years
win
with the company, and Brett gets the pop and they're off to the races.
Props to Yoko being 400 pounds working 2 matches at WrestleMania 10.
What was your last one, John?
My last one, 1998, as a personal favorite, because it was so.
That's the Vince McMahon one.
No.
That is Austin's first win. That is the one where Vince put that bounty was 99.
This one had the 3 faces of
98
Foley
was
in it.
3 faces of Foley, and the first hardcore Rumble with Cactus Jack, Terry Funk, and a couple other guys getting involved in it at the beginning. But Mick did the 3 faces, and all of those. It was a great story building up to Austin winning his first Rumble legit.
As
Just,
a baby
again,
face.
just a great match for those moments. Seeing the 3 faces of Foley and Mick going out there 3 times, and it was a fun match that I enjoyed. I mean, just barely beats 2001 for me because any Rumble with Drew Carey in it is not getting my vote.
Jared, cap us off for the night, man.
All right. 2008 Royal Rumble. There's a couple things in this one. Cody Rhodes, if you look on YouTube, he tells an amazing story of working over The Undertaker in this match. He gets in there and he's just, so excited and just working over everybody. And Punk tells him, like, go hit Taker. Cody's like, okay. He runs over and hits him with a forearm, and Undertaker's like, turns around, and they work back to the center of the ring, and Undertaker shoots him off the ropes and tells him, hit me with a drop kick. And Cody's like, what? Okay. And so he comes off and just loses. It's a great video. You should check it out.
That was also
2008 was the Rumble, not 2007 or the Garden.
Yeah, it's one of the Garden where Cena
was the
2008 was the Garden.
Yeah, that's
Cena was 30.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cena was 30.
Yeah, and
That was the short entrance at the Garden.
Was everyone was convinced Triple H was winning the Rumble because Cena had tore his pec 3.5 months previously.
Mm-hmm.
So when Cena comes out at 30, it's legit one of the most memorable moments in company
biggest
history.
pop of his career.
It was
yes.
insane. And it's funny when you watch it back because all 6 guys on commentary, 6 guys on commentary, they each had a line that they had to get in for this moment. It's like they went in order. Like Joey Styles had a line, JR had a line, Taz had a line. It's just great stuff. And
The one last thing about that match that really sticks out to me is the reigniting of the feud between Snuka and Piper.
Oh yeah.
Oh God, I
about
forgot
that.
Snuka was
That
in that match.
Great.
Yeah.
I try to avoid thinking about Snuka anymore.
Why?
After 96, I do not think about Snuka.
Ooh.
Uh,
Not a big fan of work rate Snuka.
Yeah, Work Rate Snuka was great in 1982.
Yeah.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you endured the 2 hours and 3 minutes with us, we appreciate it. Big thank you to Zach and Mondo for the first half an hour providing their non-spoiler review of Jurassic World Dominion. You can check Mondo out on, I believe he said Xbox, PlayStation Network, and Game Switch, Nintendo, whatever the fuck it's called. Mondo 24 2000.
Game Switch Nintendo.
Something like
Only
that.
Friends.
I don't know what the hell it's called. And then you have Zach with the IPC podcast. They will be live this Friday night. They're also doing Cretaceous Cosplayers. Our boy Mike Bish has a podcast out, Take One Podcast. Be sure to check that out. And Kieran should be back at the Rick and Morty fan show whenever there's Rick and Morty stuff to talk about Matt. Much appreciated being a channel sponsor, sir. It really does mean a lot. Thank you for coming on and doing this tonight, dude.
Man, throw that shirt in the trash. Hey, you like what's about my name?
You wasted your outro on that. Congratulations. Jared, where can everybody find you at? And he's wasted his
He's got him on mute.
Damn it! Again, the stupid mic doesn't work.
Nobody wants to hear you say anything about Cowboys.
Now you can find me on Facebook at Dark Match Drive. I run a Facebook group. We're on Discord, and I also run a Google Drive with 5,000 gigabytes of wrestling for a monthly fee. It is way too much wrestling to watch. Check it out. And follow me on Twitter at Jamie Virtue.
Johnny, where can everybody find you at, man?
Oh, man, you can find me here, there, and everywhere here in about 15 minutes or so. We'll live over on twitch.tv/Bros4Pros Gaming, where we will be starting the quarry and hoping we don't kill off all the characters we like.
Nice. Can't wait to play that myself. By the way, House of the Empire, a Game of Thrones show on here, Game of Thrones / House of the Dragon show on here. We record next Monday, 2 episodes. Looking forward to that. And they'll probably release sometime in the next month or so. Hopefully before that, but it's going to depend on availability. And then don't forget, 2:30 a.m. Eastern, we're back. Obi-Wan Kenobi, Part 5. Is the thumbnail a spoiler? Yes, it is. We'll see you next time. Good night, everybody.